Hi, I'm Maureen McCarthy of the Center for Collaborative Awareness. So I bet you that the first thing you noticed about me is that I've got this crazy tube going up my nose, that I'm actually on oxygen. But why is it that that's the first thing you notice about me? Why is it that when I'm out in public, perfect strangers will stop and stare at me? Well, it's not because they're being rude or they somehow don't like me. It's actually because our brains are wired to keep us safe. It's like when we see a glimmer of something out of the corner of our eye and we automatically turn and look at it. Our brain is saying, pay attention, figure out what this is. In the same way that you see this incongruity with this red-haired, youngish woman up here on oxygen, your brain says, pay attention to that and determine whether there's somehow a problem or a danger, and then it files it away. It's the same thing that happens when we've had a rough conversation with our boss or a tough time with our spouse or our neighbor. We actually have a brain that tries to protect us by paying attention to those things and filing them away. But you know what? Our brains are also wired to connect, to literally synchronize with one another through the mirror neurons in our brain. They allow us to literally attune to one another's state of mind and be able to have effortless collaboration when we connect and have that kind of rapport. And let me quiet your safety brain by telling you why I'm on oxygen. I actually only have 10% lung capacity left. And I have a very rare fatal lung disease that actually will fill my lungs with tumors until I'm no longer able to breathe. But you know what? I also am one of the healthiest people you will ever meet. Ask anybody who knows me. They will all tell you that. I have an illness, but I'm not sick. I don't live that kind of life. And whether I die tomorrow or I die in 50 years, I have a better life than anyone I know. And the reason that I'm able to live this really vibrant life is because I noticed that creating collaborative awareness in every area and relationship in my life was the one way to really keep me alive and keep me thriving. And so because I couldn't live the life that normal people were living, I literally had to custom design my relationships in my life. And if I lived with the level of stress that most people have going on in their bodies on a daily basis, there is no way that I'd still be alive. But through collaborative awareness, I literally have peace on autopilot. And I use stress only when it's useful. And that literally has kept me alive. And the way that I've created collaborative awareness in my life is through a collaboration process that my husband and business partner, Zell Nelson, and I created, and it's called the Blueprint of We Collaboration Document. Originally it was named, and you might know it as the State of Grace document, but it's transitioned to the Blueprint of We. And the Blueprint of We is being used now in 100+ countries around the world in many languages, in everything from couples and families and schools to small businesses and nonprofits and corporations. It can replace or enhance traditional legal contracts, and whether there's 2 people or 20 people or 20,000 plus involved in the relationship at any level, anyone can do it because it's scalable. And you literally have each person involved in the relationship write their portion of the 5 components that make up a Blueprint of We. The first component is called the Story of Us. And each person writes down the story of us, which is what draws me to these people in this situation at this time in my life. We've got to capture those neural pathways and lay down those tracks so we can access them later. The second component everyone writes on is called interaction styles and warning signs. The interaction styles are, let me tell you from my own self, this is who I am and how I operate and what I'm all about. And the warning signs are, this is what I look like on my most stressful day, and this is what I need in the moment that I couldn't possibly ask for. So that we begin to do this dance of awareness, of really knowing and understanding one another. The third component is the expectation section. And this is where you literally custom design your relationship instead of fitting into the predetermined relationship definitions that we've been using for generations that may no longer fit us. The fourth component is called questions to return to peace. And this is literally a third-party mediator tool that you create ahead of time. Also a manual of what to do in case of fire, basically. And it helps you to access your most emotionally intelligent self ahead of time through questions and statements and reminders and other tools you might use. What is the bridge you want to build out of stress and conflict ahead of time before you ever even need to use it? The fifth component is short and long-term agreements. And these are the time frames. How long are you willing to go with that knot in your stomach when something's off with the person you're in relationship with before you will come back together, reread your document to reorient yourself with who you are, who they are, and then use the blueprint of we to actually get you back to a good place. It also agrees to no outright harm if the unimaginable happens and we can't sit down to talk. So through these 5 components that everybody writes, you then merge your document together and you have this most incredible clarifying conversation, which is an opportunity for each person in the relationship to see and be seen, which really gets those mirror neurons going and helps us connect and collaborate at an entirely different level. This tool is absolutely changing the DNA of relationships. It is my idea worth spreading, and I'm watching it travel around the world at a rate I could never have imagined. So I encourage you to try it. There's enough information on the website to go start trying your own documents in whatever relationship you want to begin. All I know is that it's created an incredible amount of collaborative awareness for me, and peace is literally my constant state. And that's amazing to me. All I know is peace is the most sit on the edge of your seat ride I could have ever imagined. And I know that I'm all in. And I really hope that you are too.